everyone, this is Jamie with Heaven Sent Custom Creations, and I am going to be doing this cute little, if I can pick it up, watercolor. I printed this out on watercolor paper on my Epson inkjet printer, and so we're going to do it with that. I'm going to use it with the paints that I sell with the art kits, which is just a watercolor, comes with this brush right here, nice little kind of round brush there. So this is one of my kits that I sell for kids. Adults can do it too, because I don't think it matters how old you are. If you want to paint, you want to paint, and paint is good therapy. So hope you join me, and I will put links down below on where some of these things are, as well as how you can contact me if you are interested in getting a kit. Kit comes with 5 8.5 by 11 sheets of watercolor paper that have designs, the outlines already on them, so children or adults, whoever wants to do them, can just go ahead and paint. They basically come with everything you need except for the water that you will need to do the painting. So I hope you enjoy this. I am open to any comments or anything you have like that, or ideas. I would love to do some custom ideas for people for design. So let me know if you have any ideas on that. Give me a like, a thumbs up, everything like that, and I hope you enjoy the painting. Here we go. Just gonna get a little water here. I'm going to start with his ocean, because I want to do, I'm kind of a person who likes to do backgrounds first. So we're just going to see if we can go ahead and get a little water here. We're gonna just actually go ahead and get a little water just on the paper. We're gonna see how this looks. I did kind of experiment with this another time, had no issues with the paint wanting to, or the ink wanting to bleed when I got water on it. So we're just gonna hope that's the same way. The water paper will curl. That's kind of natural when you're doing a watercolor. Some people like to take painter's tape, something that's not super sticky, and paint down or tape down the edges of their watercolor paper, so it kind of keeps it from bubbling up a little bit. This is more for fun, not that I don't have a lot of my fun paintings that, I've done up on the walls or different things with them. So I'm not going to be too worried about doing that. Just going to keep on spreading. By putting water on the paper first and spreading it around, when you get that wet watercolor on there, it will kind of make that watercolor spread a little easier. It will a lot of times give it a little softer color. So you might have to, if you want it, to darken it a little bit, you might have to kind of go over it twice. And that's good, because we wouldn't want it to, there's no fun in painting if you're done painting in 5 minutes, right? So we want to have a good time when we're painting. So we're going to just keep spreading this a little bit. I actually am going to put a little extra color just right where these hooks are in the waves, just to help them stand out a little bit. It's also important to make sure you have good lighting where you're painting, so you can just see everything that you're painting. Let's see, like this is an area right here where I don't have water, so you can see how strong that color looks right away. And if you like that, then yeah, definitely that's the way to go. That's a wonderful thing about art. Art is in the eye of the beholder. So I will tell you right now that I am someone who, I have seen a lot of artwork that I'm just like, I can't believe that, they're doing that and making a living, because it's just not my thing. And like I said, that's just the wonderful thing about art, is because it can just be really anything you want it to be. Some more of this. Background always takes a little bit to do. I'm gonna just get some water here. I can see just a little bit of, it's like a little bit of ink, but once I put water on it, it just kind of dissipates into the paper. You really can't notice it anymore, so I can't say that it's anything I'm really too concerned about. Yeah, I'm not painting, of course, on paper that cost me, tens of dollars that, you know, I mean, there's just no way you could feasibly do anything, something like that. I would, you know, they talk about the starving artist and being broke. I mean, that would definitely have you be well on your way, I would think, if you, you know, or just a regular person who lives day to day with what you're making at your job. So, you know, I try and be frugal. I try and get stuff that's going to do the job, have it look nice, have it be just what I want it to be, without having to break the bank. And hopefully most people can appreciate that sentiment, at least most of the people I'm around. By all means, though, if you know you have the means and you want to go with higher quality artwork, brushes, paints, anything like that, you know, I would never steer someone away from wanting to do the things that they really want to do, whether or not they had money. You know, it's what you enjoy in life. And definitely this kind of stuff, if it's your therapy, which a lot of times for me, definitely, you know, a hard day at work, a hard week at work, sometimes you just need that little bit of, so I'm going to put a little bit more, sorry, break into this. I'm going to put a little more of this color right here on my, is that caps? I think those are called caps. I just thought this little shark was just so darn cute. I've always been a fan of, you know, the shark shows and different things like that, and learning about them. Had about a 5-minute time when I was in high school where I thought about being a marine biologist, but growing up in the heartland, the only thing I really had to experience water was lakes. We didn't really travel, so I was never around oceans or anything like that, and wasn't very long lived. And sometimes I think, oh, that still would have been an amazing career, you know, to get into. But I am pretty happy with what I'm doing now, and so, you know, it's all about just being happy and doing what you're put on this earth to do, you know. A little one, just finishing this top corner up here, getting the paper, some water on it so I can keep, got a little water right there that kind of, you can see how my paper is bubbling a little bit. That's totally fine. Like I said, if that's something that really bothers you, feel free to get a low tack painter's tape or something like that. Do like a 1/4 inch border around, and that will help keep your paper. I'm not going to say it's not going to bubble at all. It still will, probably a little, but you won't have near the bubbling that you had from. Now, with these kits, I will tell you too, you have the option of going for a little extra. I think right now it's $3 more. You can upgrade to a better pack of brushes. Not that this is a bad brush, but it would just give you more options for brushes. You would have a couple flat brushes and then a couple more rounds, and like a liner brush for doing detail type work. And I believe right now, as of July 2024, those are a $3 addition. Definitely, if you could buy multiple kits and only get one of those extra packs if you wanted, it just gives you more brushes. Like, it would give me a bigger brush to do this, but I wanted you to be able to see the painting done with everything that came in the kit. You know, so I didn't want you to think, well, yeah, yours turned out, you know, this way because you use different brushes or, you know, whatnot. So no, I want you to see just how it can look. You know, just how beautiful you can make it, how fun you can make it. I will be honest too, I'm a realist, so I love artwork that looks real. I struggle with doing artwork that is abstract, like, you know, having a red shark and a yellow water, stuff like that. I am so jealous sometimes of people who you know, when they look at something and they come up with just some amazing colors, and I'm just like, oh, you know, I want to do that, but my brain just says, stop, no, that's not what it's supposed to look like. And, you know, it's like I said, art is for everyone, because whether you see a red shark in yellow water or you see a gray shark in blue water, you know, in all colors in between, it is just, you know, it is what you want it to be, and they all are beautiful. And so, you know, it's just incredible. So that's why it is so much fun. Plus, it's a great thing to do if you have, kids that you just need to maybe have quiet time with for a little bit, or learning about their colors. If you you just want that little bit of space, where you can just have that little time alone. Like I said, it's my therapy a lot of times. I do painting and crafts and all that stuff, and I sometimes just have to do that to get away. I've never been big on reading. Not that I don't like to read, but it's got to be something that really catches my attention. I like movies and stuff like that, but of course you don't want to spend your whole day just sitting in front of the TV either, especially if you have kids. You want to be engaged. So let's see, I'm just about there. Okay, so I am gonna kind of let that dry a little. I just have some paper towels here off to the side that I'm dabbing my brush on. I got water, very simple. Like I said, wonderful thing about watercolor. Not quite as staining as acrylic, and much more, the colors are a little lighter, so you just don't have to worry about the, staining on stuff, and you don't have to have near, all my colors are right here in this palette, as you can see, and if I was doing acrylic, I'd have a plate that had several different colors on it, and you're always having to do that. So as this dries, I will tell you, one thing you can use if you want to speed up drying is like a hair dryer. Make sure if children are around that you're supervising or you're doing it for them. But you can slowly, you won't want to get it real close because it might blow the wetness onto a part you don't want it to. But you could slowly, from a distance, have a blow dryer blowing on it, and that would help this watercolor dry a little faster. But as it's drying, the nice thing is you can always go back and touch up areas after it dries, and you're like, oh, I want this darker, I want this lighter, do whatever you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a little water. I'm gonna do, I think we'll do Mr. Shark here, and I want him, we're gonna see, I'd like him to be kind of a blue-gray, like a dark blue. That's actually purple I'm grabbing there. I'm gonna throw a little, there we go. So it's kind of gonna be a storm, I'm gonna call it a stormy gray. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep grabbing. The nice thing with watercolors, if you go from one to another, all you have to do is clean your brush, do a quick swipe through, and it'll clean that all off. So I'm gonna grab this, grab a little blue. There we go. Get my storm cloud. It's gonna be, I'll probably have to make more of that, but that's okay. So we're gonna start up here with his tail. See how I like this. It's kind of a navy, so I like it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I have here. And then I'm gonna get a little bit more, I think, well, I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I kind of like, I was gonna do a little bit more black, but the more I look at it, the more I kind of like it. And what I may do is I may go back, see if my brain remembers, and do, I'm gonna do a little bit of green on edges of this water, kind of, around where he's at. So let's see, we're going to do the dorsal fin next. The other fun thing about these with kids is as you're doing certain paintings, you can go over, anatomy of different animals, or, just learning about different animals. If you're able to be there with them, it can be more than just a fun activity, that they're being allowed to take part in. Also can be fun things if you've got kids that are homeschooled. I had a daughter who I homeschooled for a while, and I loved doing this kind of stuff with her. So she struggled with certain subjects, and sometimes when we could just take a break and step back and say, okay, you know what, instead of working on the stuff that you're really struggling with, let's have a little fun. Let's do a little art, let's do a craft. And yeah, she actually had quite a knack for, she was one of those blessed people that could see stuff that I was just like, I don't understand how you're seeing that can be that color, but she just was blessed to be able to do that. And thank God, because Lord knows I wouldn't have been able to help her do that. So we're going to just keep on trucking here with this color. If I run out, I'll just mix up some more. No big deal. See some of my areas here. You can see how it dries lighter and darker, just depending on where you had different colors. So I will tell you too, one of the fun things is you can, this little cover for the watercolors, you can actually just go ahead and, like, there's 3 little sections, and just put a little, like a teaspoon, probably teaspoon of water in each one, and it automatically right there, it gives you your mixing spots for you to mix your colors if you need to, you know, come up with a color. And that's the other nice thing about, you know, acrylics are fun, and I love acrylics, but I even find myself sometimes getting lazy with just, oh, I'm just going to buy this color I need, even though I know I could create it, because sometimes making a color, if you don't make enough, can be a little difficult. It can be challenging at times. But it is so good for these kids when we want to teach them about, you know, mixing colors and the different things that they can do. Actually, that's not too bad. I'm gonna put a little more blue in there. Okay, let's see if I can get his poor little, it looks a little blue. The worst thing is once it dries, sometimes it dries to the color you want. You ever struggle with that if you've painted in the past? I know. I'm like, oh, it's not the right color, and I'll go try and mix up a new batch, and then by the time I get back to where I'm at, it's like, oh wait, it almost looks identical to what I had. The nice thing with watercolor too, just take that new little batch that you've done up and blend it into what you already have, and then yeah, you're not going to really notice much. And the nice thing too is you have so much that just looks like, I mean, it can just look like shadows, you know. It's incredible. So we're just going to keep going around. Like I said, I may do another video someday where I like completely do the colors weird, and I'm sure you will hear me throughout the whole video going, oh my gosh, this is a hot mess. I don't understand why it's doing this, just because my brain just doesn't want to. But I think sometimes it's good for us to tell our brains, you know what, this is what we want, and it's okay if it's not just quite what we're thinking. So I'm going to do just a couple little, this is blue is a little bit different. So I'm just going to go on some edges here just to kind of highlight that little bit different shade. You know, there we go. See if I can get the rest of this filled in. Let's see. If I ever had to meet a shark, this right here would be the one I'd want to meet. Maybe I'd want to meet one with patches over both eyes. That might be more my speed. There we go. Cute little guy. Now, the skull on the patch and the teeth, I'm not going to paint. That's my goal anyway. I am just going to leave those as they are. I'm going to do kind of a dark red in where his mouth would be. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave that white as well, because, I mean, normally that's what you would see. And like I said, what have I said? My brain wants to see what's normal. My brain doesn't work any other way. I shouldn't say that. It does. It just sometimes it struggles. It wants to challenge me. And what's life without a good challenge, right? All right, let me... There we go. I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of a... I'm just trying to make kind of a little darker red color. Another thing you can do that sometimes helps a little is as you're getting everything ready to paint, put a couple drops of paint in each of the colors. So, you know, you have some water that's already, because these are all dry. I haven't done anything with these. There we go. This is kind of what I'm wanting. It's kind of a darker red color. Okay. So we're going to start here and see how I like this, and if I need to make, yeah, it works. I could have probably gone with the bright red, but that's okay. I like this. I think I'll have to do a sister painting to it that's like maybe magenta and pinks and purples or something. I don't know, something silly. I like for especially kids, because like I said, I'm already set in my ways, but I like especially kids to know, you know, this, not just this time, but especially at this time when you're a kid, let that imagination just run wild with your art and your designs, because quick little backstory on me. I wanted to be an artist. When I was in high school, I was very good in art. I did a lot of, I did stained glass art. I did a lot of different things. I really excelled. I mean, I never got under, I mean, I always had an A plus in art. Loved art, but we showed horses for a lot of years. And when I was getting time for college, which I'll be honest with you, I really didn't want to do. I hated school back when I was a kid. I wish I didn't, because as an adult, I love it. But, you know, I'm a little more, um, just able to be like comfortable in my own skin, I guess is what it was. I was just a child who struggled, I guess would be the best way to put it. I had some like math. Oh, I was horrible. I was atrocious in math. And all my siblings were really good. So it was just a little silly that I couldn't do math. But I really struggled in math. And, but anyway, I had a guidance counselor, you know, the people that at school that were supposed to help you kind of guide you to school. And very nice guy. I mean, I have no qualms with him, but he told me, I'm just going to let this dry a little bit. My patch, you know what? I think, oh, what do I want to do? Should I do purple? Maybe I'll do purple on my patch. But this guidance counselor, I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, what do you know? He knew we showed horses, because we'd take days off for the state fair and stuff. We showed quarter horses, paints, pinhos, all that good stuff. I said something to him about, well, yeah, I'd really like to be an artist. That's kind of, you know, what I'd love to do. And he's like, oh, you know, you're a good artist, but I've seen the stuff that you like to do. And he said, you have, how did he word it? Something like, you have expensive taste or something like that. And he said, you need to pick a career that's going to pay for the things you want to do. And I remember thinking, well, that sucks, excuse me, because I really wanted to find some way I could be an artist. And so I kind of grew up in the country, and I spent my summers showing horses. I didn't go do things with friends hardly ever, unless they were horse show friends. So I just, you know, I was kind of heartbroken, decided to go to college, made it 6 months, and thought, yeah, I'd rather just work. I'd rather dig ditches for a living than have to go back to school at that point in my life. And so, you know, I just worked jobs. And then I started, you know, when I was in my 30s, I guess it was, I realized, started finding these people that had, you know, they didn't get rich fast, and I'm not going to even say they were really rich, but they were comfortable, and they, you know, just all these different aspects of artwork that they were doing. I'm going to get a little bit of this light blue and play with these, some of these bubbles. I want to do some fun stuff with the bubbles, and I think maybe even some pink. Get some purple and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep working on this while I talk. I lost my train of thought, what I was talking about. Give it little bubbles. Little bubbles. But anyway, yeah, so I only made it 6 months, and I came home. I've worked, I did a lot of, like, I worked for the horse people. I did, like, magazine covers and ads and stuff for our directories, and but I worked, like, daycares. I had an in-home daycare, all that kind of stuff. That's how I actually ended up getting my daughter. She was a foster child, and I just saw her one day when I was working at a daycare and fell in love with her. And she had a brother too that they weren't able to stay together, which it stunk a little bit. I would love to have had them both, but, you know, I got her, and she's a mom now, so, you know, it's just kind of amazing how the circle of life continues. But grab some of this magenta, and yeah, you know, it's but so I've tried to get back into it. I like to do everything. That's probably one of my downfalls, because I can never quite pick what I'm wanting to do. But I love this stuff. I love working with people. I love helping people do something that makes them feel good. I worked in Alzheimer's facility for a while too once, and just loved the people. So that's kind of one reason I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. And even if it doesn't do anything for me, I just love it. So I'm going to do it on top of, you know, the job I work. And get a little more of this magenta to go with this purple. And so now I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything. And yeah, you know, it's great, but I do regret that I let, you know, and it wasn't just the one guidance counselor, it was a couple other people here and there, but you know, that I let these people dictate basically what ended up being done with my life, because I didn't go any further checking it out, and that's on me. That's not on them. You know, I do think that they were seriously trying to help me out. You know, I think they thought, oh my gosh, this girl wants to, you know, have horses her whole life, and there's just no way she's going to be able to do that if she. I'm gonna grab a little of this blue. Let's see what that does. We'll find out. This one's, there we go. Well, that's kind of cute. See, this one bled a little bit. I'm gonna wait and let that dry a little, and then dry and just take a little water over it and see what it does. That was because I didn't wait until it was dry. But like I said, that's the fun thing about painting, and it all still looks awesome when you get done. So I'm gonna grab now, let's see, looks like I have a light green and I have a dark green. I told you I was gonna do a little bit of fun with that, so I'm just gonna get green in these things, or water in these little containers here. So that's my light, I believe this is my dark. And so anyway, back into doing artwork. I paint, I do pastel. I like doing artwork with pastel, colored pencil, and graphite that look realistic, the photorealism. So I do pet portraits a lot. A little more water here because I don't want it so strong. So when I put this down, I'm going to try and smooth it around so it's not quite so. And then I think I just take some water and just kind of have it go around so it's not so strong in those areas. I want it just to be like a hint that there's this green in the water. Under his little wing there. Wing, did I just call that fin a wing? Oh my goodness. Ha ha ha, spending too much time. All right, so we're gonna do this a little bit around this fin, not wing, fin. Just gonna grab some water and just kind of help it kind of blend out from there. Let's grab this here. You can still keep water on here because it doesn't hurt to kind of grab that together. We're just gonna go and follow around Mr. Shark here. Or Mrs. Shark, I guess, whatever you want to call him. Mr. or Mrs., I don't care. All right, grab a little bit of water. Just gonna try and stay away from my little bubbles because I don't want like those pinks and stuff going into this. You know, if it happens, it happens. It's a, what Mr. Bob Ross used to say, a happy little accident. And there's something you can do too. Like if you would have, I'll just show you real quick. I have this paper, a little bit of paper towel here. We'll hopefully see that this bubble and this is getting kind of close. You can just dab it. That takes most of the water off. That did lighten the bubble, but then I can just put a little bit of, you know, color back in there and just leave it. And then, you know, as it dries, you'll notice a lot of times when I'm doing these paintings that I don't always like rinse my brush off. I get more water on it, but I don't necessarily rinse it off because I kind of like, I think it looks more realistic sometimes when you let those colors meld together. You know, if you've ever looked at something and in nature, and even though like flowers may be yellow and then they've got the green background, a lot of times you'll notice that there's you can still see there's flecks of yellow, you know, in different spots that draw your eye. And so it never, you know, you don't have to make it stoic. As a, you know, I used to be someone who was kind of like, okay, this has to be this color, this has to be this color, because I felt realistically, you know, that might be in my brain. My brain wanted to say that's how it was. It's not. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this green and go here. So, you know, I have this one bubble here that kind of exploded on me, and we're just gonna keep keep on trucking with our color, and add our water to help it blend a little bit. There we go. Now I will say, I don't know if you've kind of paid attention and looked, but you know, like I said, this design was just printed out on an inkjet printer, and I feel that it you know, you can still see the black lines there. You know, like I said, you could see just a fading of that color when I was first getting them wet, but they're still very defined, very, you know, I'm not going to say that I think that there's really any issue with that. You know, like it's just destroying the picture because the black is, you know, doing this or that or whatever. And a little bit here, I want to try and blend. See if we can maybe get a little, grab a little, ugh, my blue is dry. Here we go. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. I love to paint. I love to paint. I love to paint. Now with watercolor, unless you want to spend a lot of time, you know, letting it dry, putting new layers on, you know, letting it dry, putting new layers on, is going to be a lighter design. And I think that's totally cool. I like it, especially, I don't know, I'm one of those, there are certain things that I think look really good with watercolor. And the right person can make anything look good with you know, watercolor if you spend enough time and energy on it. But I really love doing water. You know, that kind of makes sense that you're doing an actual water design with watercolor. I just think the fading and the blending of the colors and that you can kind of put different colors anywhere really just helps. I don't know, it just gives it something. So I'm going to grab a little of this. I think I'm going to see if I can make his nose stand out. Don't want to make it crazy, but I just want to give it a little bit of definition there. See that? I put a little bit of blue on his nose. I'm going to do that on, I'm just being weird now. This is definitely by far nothing you would have to do. But I'm just putting a little bit of different color, and then I'm just going to, whoops, too much. And I just rinse it off, and then I'm just going to go. And I just want to kind of let that go into the gray. Same here. Just going to get water and let that just kind of go into the gray. All right. And then I'm going to, now I'm someone who will spend hours and hours building on colors, and that by far is not anything required to have a nice watercolor and to have fun and do that. I am someone who I just like to keep playing, you know. I'm one of those people that sometimes doesn't really understand when to quit. Not that there's anything wrong with that, you know, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you just want to keep going. And hey, layers, nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna go up here and do this little dorsal here. See if I can get that a little. You just get that water, and it's just amazing how that water just helps it. Like I actually had one drop there, so I'm gonna have a little bit here. And I actually can then just use that little excess that I had that dropped on his dorsal fin. So hey, help me out here. Here we go. There you go. And the other thing I really highly recommend when you're painting is do not be afraid to kind of let it dry and then step back and look at it from like 10 feet away. I am someone who will just pick at even just a fun painting I'm doing because I just enjoy it. And I could have stopped an hour or two before I do because I just pick. And if I would have looked at it when I was, an hour or two earlier from a distance and just really let my eyes soften and look at it, I would have been like, oh, that looks so good. Why did I, And it's not that it looked bad when I was done. It was just something, I just didn't have to do it. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. All right. So there is my happy little shark. I'm not going to pick him up and show him to you because he is, he is wet. And if I pick him up and there's enough water somewhere, I don't want it dripping down. So we're going to let him stay flat. If you used the tape when you did yours, just leave the tape and everything until it's completely dry. You can help it dry with a blow dryer if you want, totally fine. And then when it's all dry and everything, I will take a still photo of that with the, and hopefully should be able to throw this on with the painting. So let me turn you around so you can see me. But thank you so much for joining me again, Jamie with Heaven Sent Custom Creations, and check us out on Facebook, Heaven Sent Custom Creations, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok as well. Got some videos on there. Would love ideas for some paint kits that I can, like a design maybe that you thought, I like to paint, but I've always wanted to see this and I've never seen this. So would love something like that. So feel free to shoot me a comment with some sort of design, and I hope to see you again checking out another video, and I hope you have a great day. Blessings.